try again. Greetings from Snake Mountain Boat Works on Friday, March 17th. It's St. Patty's Day in Vermont, and we're getting ready to put plywood on the 1946 Brightside U22. I'll hand it over to John.
Well, I got the bottom all sanded in, took a belt sander and I sanded in all these frames. Got everything contoured pretty decent. I found out when Chris Craft was building the boats, they used rule of thumb, which means that anything that went together on the boat, assembled by the assembly line guys that didn't carry tape measures, anything more than the width of the thumb off would have to be worked on by the guys that were building the frames. And everything else just kind of went together. So when you find out that things are off a quarter to a half inch, that's the way they came from the factory. But I sanded the bottom in so that it was closer than that. It's within 1/8 of an inch all the way through. Nice contour to the bottom. After I got it done sanded, Mike bought me a bunch of construction paper, and I started laying the construction paper out on the other side on the frame, and I continued to lay pieces of construction paper out throughout the bottom of the frame, taping them together and making patterns so that we can put them on plywood. And this is one of my patterns for the other side, but when it's all said and done, I can flip the pattern over and with very little work, sand it in for this side.
So that tells us that the boat we succeeded in getting the boat true.
It's pretty good. I'm finding variations of 1/8 of an inch, which is very good.
That's better than the rule of thumb.
That's better than the rule of thumb. Yes, it is. So the other side is where I made my patterns for, and I pretty much completed the patterns on the other side, only to take them back off and transfer the patterns to a piece of plywood, which will be our first layer of the bottom. And after the plywood pieces are cut out from the patterns, we will then seal them, put one coat of bilge paint on them, and then we will be putting the bottom together.
So why don't we go to the other side, John, so we can see the entire effect. We were all just joking because it's been a long week and a long day on Friday. So I suggested, John, why don't we just flip her over and see how long she'll float? I don't think she'll float very long, but there you can see each individual section of construction paper is a piece of plywood.
This particular pattern right here was built with 8 pieces of construction paper. This next one right here, 4, 6, there's also 8 pieces in this one that are all taped together to make that solid enough to actually transfer it to a piece of plywood without it losing form. And as I came to the front of the boat, we start to get a compound bevel. We got the plywood bows bellies in, plus the plywood goes at a hump over the front, so to speak. So when you're trying to bend it 2 different directions, piece of plywood that's too big, it either splits or it buckles and you don't get a nice flat curve to the boat. So these front sections had to be made smaller. This piece covers 2 frames. This piece here only covers 1 frame. This one's beveled so much both directions that I actually had to cut it at an angle, and I will bevel my 2 pieces so that I won't have a seam. I'll have a seam, but it'll be beveled so that it won't have a butt joint. Every one of them that's butt jointed will be butt jointed on a solid frame. And then when you get to this front one, that's a small one because that one also has a double curve to it. And if I was to try to make them so that they covered more frames, it'd be almost impossible to bend them.
Yeah, then the plywood cracks and splits and we're in trouble.
Yes, it does.
So the procedure from here is first to cut out the plywood pieces, right?
Yeah, we'll be cutting out the plywood pieces, sealing.
Sealing in CPES, both sides, all the edges, and then
And we got one coat of bilge paint
on the inside.
On the inside surface.
Right. And we still want to finish applying bilge paint to all of the frames
Yes.
one last time, because Danenberg absolutely insists that the members, the frames and the chine frame be painted with.
Yes, he likes a light coat of paint on them.
Right.
He doesn't want the paint too thick because he wants the wood to gas off whatever's in the wood, the chemicals, whatever's
Right.
in it. He wants it to be able to gas off. So he quotes a light coat of bilge paint on everything before assembly.
Right. And as John sanded everything to the right contours, of course we sanded through what we had done before, so we're sealing them again in CPES and applying the bilge paint. And by this time next week, well, I'm luxuriating in the wonderful temperatures at Sunnyland Boat Show. John and RJ will be applying plywood to the bottom of the 1946.
When we get next week, we should be able to get some plywood on it. These side planks back on it. The new chines, I'm hoping to have them well underway by the end of the week so that we can start on our bottom planks.
And when we really worked through all of the bottom planks today, the original ones, John and I concluded that we just can't put them back on. They're too oil soaked. So the bottom of this boat will have all new mahogany planking on it that'll go through that same sealing process and be bedded in 5200. When we get finished, the bottom of this boat's going to be bomb-proof. So that's where we are on St. Paddy's Day 2017. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now from Snake Mountain Boat Works.